Have you ever slept for a full 8 hours, only to wake up feeling completely hollowed out, crushed by an invisible weight you can't even name? We all know the Monday promise. You swear that this week you will fix everything. You map out a flawless routine to eat perfectly, work out daily, and rebuild everything. Then Wednesday arrives. The initial burst of motivation evaporates, your energy disappears, and those old familiar habits slide right back into place. We fall into this trap because society emphasizes the giant leap. We are conditioned to believe that meaningful, lasting improvement requires a sudden, massive overhaul of our entire existence. Expecting too much too quickly creates a cycle of chronic inconsistency. When the goal is overnight transformation, the result is almost always a return to status quo. Consider a young man named Adam. At 22 years old, he had ambitious goals, yet he spent every day feeling older than his grandfather, paralyzed by the gap between his plans and his actions. His routine was a loop of inaction. He woke up late, scrolled mindlessly on his phone, he ate poorly, and sat around worrying about a future he wasn't building. His energy wasn't being burned by physical labor. It was being drained by the constant friction between the person he wanted to be and the choices he was making in the moment. Paralyzing exhaustion is the byproduct of expecting everything while doing nothing. It is the weight of the work you know you should be doing, but haven't started. Sitting defeated in a park, Adam met an older man who offered a simple diagnosis for his burnout. Adam was trying to construct a mansion without bothering to pour a foundation. The man explained that human well-being relies on a framework of only 3 daily battles. These are the elemental systems of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Securing the body begins with one tiny victory. You take a 20-minute walk, or you simply choose to drink more water. 1 win. Protecting the mind involves reading 5 pages or writing down a single useful idea. 1 win. And anchoring the spirit requires identifying 3 specific things you are grateful for, or sitting quietly for 5 minutes. 1 win. These micro-commitments provide the stability needed for everything else you hope to build. Without this foundation, the pressure of daily life eventually brings the whole structure down. The next morning, Adam tested the framework. He took a short walk, read a few book pages, and wrote 3 things he appreciated. No sudden wealth arrived. His problems were still there, but for the first time in many months, his mind quieted down enough to let him sleep peacefully. Over the following months, the routine was messy. Some days he failed and skipped his wins. But he learned to restart the count the next morning, instead of letting a single failure end the entire experiment. This works because a micro-commitment is small enough to bypass the brain's natural resistance to change. It is too small to trigger the fear of failure. Transformation is a quiet, repetitive process. It remains invisible right up until the point where the results become undeniable. A year later, Adam possessed a different physical presence and a quiet, steady confidence. Life still presented the same difficulties, but his internal systems had become robust. He could now handle the heavy loads that used to crush him. This graph compares the 2 approaches. The giant leap strategy shows an erratic curve that spikes with motivation and crashes back to 0. In contrast, 3 daily wins produce a slow, steady curve that begins to accelerate over time. Securing these 3 victories every day builds a level of resilience that makes your progress difficult to reverse. You become capable of carrying weights that were once impossible. Neglecting these 3 systems has a high cost. A weak body drains your energy. A restless mind fractures your focus. An empty spirit erodes your happiness. Abandon the idea of the perfect Monday. Tonight, write down the 3 tiny wins you will execute tomorrow. 1 for your body, 1 for your mind, and 1 for your spirit. Real change is built in small, invisible moments that nobody claps for, far away from the myth of the massive celebrated leap. These wins create a baseline of peace. But once you have that peace, you have to defend it, which is difficult to do if you are constantly explaining yourself to others. We'll explore why that habit steals your self-respect in the next video.